Welcome to writingalong.com. Today we're going to be talking about a subject that's, I don't really know if it exists. I don't know if it's out there, and it doesn't really matter because we're doing it now. And it's just called Writing for Joy, which is a concept pretty straightforward in its message. And the idea is write because you want to. Write for the well-being benefits it really kind of brings to you, brings to your mind as a whole, as a process, as something you do and commit your mind to. It really does bring with it an entire host of really just positive emotions that you're not actively seeking, but they will come directly back to you. And with that is something that a lot of people, I think, would benefit from knowing. Knowing that it's not, writing isn't something that's just going to be a painful, it's not just going to be this process that you spend all this time on and don't really see returns on. Maybe you'll get a couple pages down, but most people don't expect that for their own mental well-being, they're going to be feeling a lot better after writing a couple of chapters or even just a few sentences down. Your actual well-being, emotional state, all of this and such, it'll change. And of course, this isn't medical professional advice, but it's anecdotal and it's real, and it's something I've heard from many others too. It's not just something fictional, despite the content that you might be writing. You might be writing complete fiction, something that doesn't really resemble anything in the world, or it's exaggerated here and there, stuff like that. Like, it doesn't limit the great feelings that are going to come directly right back to you. Reciprocation, kind of. Like I always say too, and with all this stuff on the channel, if you've been listening, you hear, treat writing well, it treats you well right back. It just does. It's active, it's engaging, it's dimensional, it's not flat, two-dimensional, monochromatic. And it may look that way. I mean, if you're staring at your page, you just see like these words, and look at them long enough, you're like, what did I just etched symbols into an empty page. Does that really have any significance? Does that really impart anything into reality, into your own reality? And it does. Because when you put something upon the page, you're really just looking at a mirror of yourself. And from that, you kind of get some ideas of who you are. And very, very, very few would argue that knowing who you are is detrimental to yourself. As a whole, the idea and process of just kind of realizing actualization through this stuff, knowing who you are feels pretty good. And not having to have someone else tell you feels even better. If anything, that's the only kind of self-realization that really matters. And joy does spring forth from that. It legitimately does. It's not something you have to worry about running out either. It's pretty consistent. If you are tied up in your mind, in your emotions, if they're just kind of strangling you, and you're just kind of straggling on, and you don't really know what to grab onto, or your mind's just in a kind of chaotic disarray, and it's hard to make sense. It's hard to reach a place where you can stabilize what you're really feeling, what's going on in your brain, your mind, your emotions. Joy sounds pretty nice and pretty impossible sometimes when you're in a state like that. And write something down. I'm not saying a novel if that's not what you're feeling at the moment. Some people, not everyone reading this wants to write a book. Some people do, but some people just want to write a couple stories. They want to just share some experiences in whatever way that can be. As long as it's written down, as long as you get it page, whether it's on your notes app, on your phone. Maybe you're just writing something that eventually you're going to share in person to people too, to begin with. Write down what you're thinking. Even if you don't think it's going to be or turn out well, I promise you, I completely promise you and guarantee you this. You're going to feel a little different when you get it down. Whatever it is, whatever it looks like. Maybe you didn't punctuate, maybe you didn't. It's just a bunch of sentences in all caps, and you're just screaming onto the page with your written text. Your brain's going to shift. It's going to experience some kind of a prismatic change in the dimension and direction that it was staring in. You're just going to be kind of given some kind of insight you didn't have before, prior. And I legitimately want you to do it. I want you, whatever you're experiencing right now, most likely, unless you're just a bot watching this, I don't think you are. I know there's a human on the other side of the screen there, and really, I'm not kidding. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening or watching, just close your eyes for a bit. Legitimately, close your eyes for a bit. And picture your emotions. Whatever that may look like. Put colors to it. Put scenes to it. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Now pivot into that. What does it feel like? And write that down. I really challenge you. Pull out your notes. Whatever it is. It doesn't matter whether you're typing it or penning it down. Just jot it down. What does it look like? While I'm talking, go ahead. Pause the video if you want to write more. And then return back. Something changed. Something happened. You did something that you weren't doing before. And sometimes it's just something that simple. It's with writing, you can take it to a deeper level if you want, but I'd really like to orient it with the craft because I want you to see for yourself how full circle it is. I don't need to spell it out for you, ironically, right? You kind of see for yourself what it does and the significance of that for yourself. You kind of gain a certain amount of control over your emotional state, and through that you do become a better writer. If you're not just here for therapeutic purposes and you're really just trying to write some stories or just get better at writing, feel like the writer you were supposed to be. You've always were meant to be. It's true. If you feel it, just kind of this vague idea, like I have all these ideas, I have all these thoughts, and I just want to put them down. You owe it to yourself to know this stuff instead of just kind of running in blind. And yeah, a lot of this isn't stuff no one's ever heard of. Everyone knows writing does kind of have some effect. But to really take it to the next level and understand how you can harness it, how you can really get your hands on the steering wheel of it and pivot which direction you're going in, kind of serves as more than an escape. It's not just, you're not retreating from reality. You're facing it directly through writing, and through that you can kind of steer yourself into moments of joy. You can experience it for yourself, and whenever you want. It's not something you gotta go get a prescription for. It's not something you gotta read all these dangerous side effects for. You don't have to experience the next day just complete misery because you're paying for whatever you did before to achieve some kind of fleeting satisfaction. Now with writing, it's a part of yourself. It's enclosed within you already in your sense of being. And if you're utilizing a part of it yourself, you're conserving. Conservation is a concept in physics. You don't have to know physics, it's fine. I don't know all the detailed intricacies of it, okay? But some of the concepts. Conservation of mass. The mass of your being, the mass of your existence, contained as it is. There's some sense of it, right? You're wherever you think you fall, spiritually, mentally, maybe you don't even pay attention to that stuff. Maybe it doesn't matter. You're just focused on living and seeing what's in front of you. Whether you like it or not, there's something you perceive in front of you. Even if you're blind, all right? There's a world that, in a sense, whatever shape it takes, it is contained, okay? And within that, you're using the resources within. You're not taking from somewhere external. Yeah, you're watching content, you're listening to content, you're hearing me speak, but you're not stealing anything. I'm trying to help you find it within yourself and show you that it's already there. It's not something you have to receive or take outwardly, externally. It's very internal. And because of that, you got a lot of control with it. And that kind of thinking is really what takes you to the next level of writing. It's kind of what separates what's coming out of you from just, like I said, going at it blind. A lot of the stuff you would figure out on your own it does reveal itself to you. But by the nature of it, the way we're all pretty distracted, it's hard to stay focused on one craft. It's hard to stay focused on one thing. So many things are calling for your attention. And if you're watching, I appreciate that. I appreciate your time, you taking it to watch this and invest in yourself too. I'm glad you're here. I say that in a lot of my videos, and if you're listening, wherever you're listening, on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, I appreciate you. And through that, realize that a lot of this, all of it, is to save you time. It's to kind of put you in a direction where you're the one steering it. You're the one in control of your writing future. And being in control of what you can do with writing, right? It's not tied to any individual or person outside of you. Kind of unlocks that within you. And it's very, very tangible. It's not something abstract or fleeting. No, you can feel it right. You can experience it right now. Go write your thoughts down. Give it a try. Don't worry what it looks like. Don't worry. No one else has to read this. But try it. And you'll see that writing for joy is something that can really save you sometimes. It can save your life sometimes. And just you knowing that is going to take you a long way. All right, I'll see you around. See you in the next episode.